Go Nitro. We hit the carpet for a game that's been played since before America was America. With lacrosse forward Jeff Shatler. We're training with the Rush. It's one thing to watch them. It's another thing to train with them. But there's just one catch. They've had half their lives, we have half an hour. Because every athlete has a first day. Here's the place. Here's the legend. Here I am. And my new teacher. I was a goalie for 15 years. But we've never done this before. Experience? Zilch. No clue how to start, less clue how to play. And neither do you when you start out. And that's the point, because every athlete has a first day. And you've just been drafted. The sport of lacrosse is played by both men's and women's leagues and is most popular in the United States, Canada, and England. While field lacrosse utilizes a much larger playing area, which requires more endurance, box lacrosse is played indoors on an area similar in size to a hockey rink. Because of the gameplay taking place in a much more confined space, box lacrosse is often a much more physical game involving full contact. As a result, the equipment used in box lacrosse has to be able to withstand the same amount of impact as hockey gear, but also allow the body to stay cool while playing indoors. The National Lacrosse League are the pros of lacrosse in North America. Our professor, Jeff Shatler. Let's see how we do. Okay, so is there a particular order to put this on?
Most definitely. I like to start with my arm pads first and foremost. One of the most important things when you're playing lacrosse is your arm pads, because there is slashing in lacrosse. Okay. So Under Armour has a really good product. So you would put this, typically this is on the outside, so this would be your left, and it always says the left on there.
Perfect.
So it's pretty hard to mess that one up. Yeah, so you could throw that on your arm. That goes all the way up. It's similar to an elbow pad in hockey, but it's got a lot more protection for slashing, is what it has.
Oh, nice.
Yes, so you definitely need that. And then we typically have our shoulder pads is what I like to put on. So we'll have our shoulder pads. We've always put that on. These have a lot less padding than your typical hockey pad. I know you being a hockey goalie, you've seen hockey pads. These don't have as much because you're not going as fast, but it does have a little bit of protection, and it's mostly for slashing, because it's a really big slashing game. So you would put that on over your head. I'm sure you know how to do that.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
This is actually...
We'll get this out. There we go.
This is actually a lot easier.
Yeah, a little bit easier, hey?
Oh yeah.
So that would go there. No, you're pretty good. And then what?
Oh, it doesn't have
no, you can usually put it through here.
Okay.
But a lot of guys they'll tape all their equipment on. So the next thing that we usually put on is our bicep pad.
So this doesn't come around the sides?
Yes, it does.
Yeah,
it just comes underneath.
Oh, okay.
You go to the front, and you're on. You're dialed in.
There we go.
And
we're not going to have the same accident as sword fighting here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And then we have our bicep pad.
Okay.
This is very, very important when cross-checking. So typically this is where I usually put it. I'll put it underneath my shoulder pad, and it just sits just like that. And then
Because a lacrosse ball is made from a heavy form of rubber, it has bounce, allowing players to easily practice by throwing and catching against a wall. When passing the lacrosse ball, keeping eye contact with the target is key. As the stick moves forward, the ball launches from the net, similarly to how medieval catapults were used to hurl large objects over great distances.
on right here. And it's usually a weak spot in people's armor. So we always have this on.
Oh, nice.
And then another really important pad is our kidney pads. Our kidney pads, we cannot miss out doing this. This saves from cross checks to your kidneys, obviously, and to your back if someone gets you on the numbers.
Okay.
So I usually put this over. So you'll put this arm in first, throw it all the way up. We'll go to the other side, and we'll walk it around. Here you go. And then that goes right there. And typically you'll just bring these two together.
All right.
And that holds it from the shoulders falling down.
Nice.
And then this guy goes on over the top here. So that's pretty much it for the old lacrosse game. Obviously we have our helmets and gloves. Same hockey helmet as you play in hockey. Our cage is a little bit different. It doesn't go onto your chin. It sort of rests off. And then typically our gloves. The Warrior gloves is what I use. I'm a Warrior athlete sponsored, so this is typically the same glove that I use. And it's not like a hockey glove, as you can tell. Like it's really, really flimsy, but it protects you against plastic. And the traditional sticks, if you get hit with a wooden stick using this, you could really, really hurt yourself because it doesn't protect against wood, and that's the one thing. You do get hurt doing that, but typically we're only allowed to use plastic sticks in the NLL. So this is pretty much the gist of your protection. If you wore these gloves in hockey, you would seriously get hurt.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah, like as you can tell, I'll let you feel that. There's really nothing to it.
Oh, wow.
And so it's very, very thin. You can see your skin through there. Your fingers. It makes it really. It's like a glove. So if you try those on, it's very, very tight. I know hockey gloves are more bulky, but as you slide that on, you want it to be skin tight.
Oh,
because
wow.
when you're playing lacrosse, you need your hands to be moving fluently, and that's typically the best glove in the game right there. And Warrior itself is just a great product. Under Armour as well. So those are our two sponsors for for the NLL. And we have other ones, String King and stuff like that. But then below the waist is just a jock, your typical jock. And then and just hope that you don't get slashed in the legs. So that is the gist of our equipment. Some guys will actually tape pads onto their wrists here because you get extra slashes. Like under your equipment, you don't really see that, but we'll have a big pad that goes right there, and we'll tape it on. So everybody's equipment is different. Some defenders only wear arm pads. I've seen that, but typically they want everyone to wear shoulder pads because there was a guy in college who got hit in the chest and his heart actually stopped. So this is a very, very important protection piece because it does stop. Like if a ball does hit you, it protects your major arteries, your organs, and your heart and whatever else. So that's a very, very smart piece of equipment to wear as your shoulder. Everything really, like when you look at a game, we're very well protected, but if you watch a typical game, if you're new to this sport, you'd be like, these guys are animals. But we're very well protected the way we've been playing for years, and we move our equipment the way we like it. And I have more equipment than that. I have pieces that I tape on here, and there's strings. So everyone does their stuff different. But that's typically what a lacrosse player looks like under his jersey. Okay, so lacrosse. So this is what I teach my kids at the Try Lacrosse program. It's a really simple trick. The big thing about cradling, it's our equivalent of stick handling in hockey, how we control the puck going through the neutral zone. In basketball, we dribble the basketball. In lacrosse, we cradle. So my top hand does all the work. My bottom hand is loose. It just keeps you close to your hip. So it's like rocking a baby. It's exactly what it sounds like. You want to put the baby to sleep, and that's you just rocking the baby. So what I like to do, and I like to teach the kids, is always do your top hand. And there's a trick that I like to do all the time, and I could usually do, there's a lot of fun things you could do with these sticks. You just let gravity do the work. the faster you move your stick, the harder it's going to be for that ball to come out. And you know, once this comes second nature to me now. But yeah, this is a lot of practice. So when the kids see me do that, I'm like, hey, you can do it too. Interesting story. One of the greatest things I think ever what I had was having my kids come watch me play, seeing them after games, seeing how excited they are. My son saying, "Daddy, Daddy, Daddy." There's one video of my son running from the Zamboni doors onto the floor after we had won and running with his arms wide open and coming into my arms. And I ended up getting him. It's on all over YouTube and whatever else. But yeah, my son's a big hit when it comes to the games. Mascots love him, fans know him. He does interviews with me after games, so he's a big hit. I love my little guy. I have another little boy, his name is Jax, the youngest, and then I got my oldest is Ava. So all my kids, my biggest thing is I want to play for my kids. I want them to know what I do. I want them to know that it's possible to do whatever you believe. If you believe in yourself, you can do it. Top hand will be here. My bottom hand slides up like this, and then I'll drop my top hand, so it looks something like this. Okay. And all I tell them to do is spin your stick and then catch it with your other hand. Okay. So one more time. We are gonna spin the stick and then just catch it with the other hand. So all you're doing is spinning the stick. And the more you spin it, the harder it's going to be for that ball to come out.
Oh, nice.
So we'll give it a try. We'll let you take that glove off because it's really hard to do it with that. I'll give you a hand with that. There you go. All right, so
I was wondering about
you are a righty, so this hand's going to come up to here.
Yeah, okay.
All right, that hand, you go down, let go of that, let go of that hand. Put it down by your side. Okay. So now you want to spin it and then catch it with your other hand. Okay. There we go.
All right.
There it is.
Let's try that again.
Yeah, we'll try it one more time. So just remember, as long as you spin it, that ball will stay in there. Here we go. Oh, almost.
All right.
There we go.
Awesome.
Hey.
All right, so where do we start?
All right, so the way I like to teach kids to start right at the basics. So the way I like to teach it is if I am dominant with my left hand, I reach over my left shoulder, and everyone knows how to throw a ball, so that's an easy way to explain it. So I reach over my left shoulder, I step forward with my right foot, and I throw a ball. As I throw a ball, it's very similar to lacrosse. So my left hand would be dominant, so it would be in the middle of my stick like this. Mm-hmm. All right, my bottom hand would be on the knob of my stick. And I would do the same motion. I'd reach over my left shoulder, I'd step forward with my right foot, and I'd throw the ball. So the only difference is I have two hands on my stick. Now it's not always that way. Some people are ambidextrous, so they could do it with the right hand or their left hand. In field lacrosse, it's two hands. You want to be able to play with both hands. In box lacrosse, as you see us playing it with the rush, it's always with one hand. You always want to be dominant with just one hand. But in field lacrosse game, you want to be able to use both hands and equally as good, and it makes you a more dominant player because people will shadow you to one side where you shoot, so you want to switch hands and then fire the ball. So box cross is totally different. That's the only difference between box and field. Box, one hand. Field, you want to be able to use two. Now the next thing we really want to know is, and it's very important, is you want to aim with the butt end of your stick. So if I want to pass to you, that's the direction of the ball. So if you want to pass to me, that butt end of your stick has to be directed towards me. Is too high, the ball will either fall out the back of your stick or it'll hit the sky. And if it's too low, it's gonna go straight to the ground. So you want that stick nice and level, all right? Then when I put it all together, and always remember, always step forward with your opposite foot. So if my left hand is my left hand, left shoulder, I step forward with my right, and if my right hand is here, right hand, right shoulder, left foot. Pretty simple stuff. You put it all together when I take a shot. If I have the net, remember I want my knob of my stick to be directed towards the net. I want to step forward with with my opposite foot, and then I fire.
Nice.
All right, so we're gonna give it a try. We'll give you a try, and we'll try it out.
All right.
All right, so need a ball.
Yeah.
All right, so you're dominant with your right hand, it looks
Yeah,
like.
yeah.
Okay, so your right hand would go in the middle of the stick.
So I'm gonna put the ball in there.
Yeah, right hand in the middle of the stick, right? You're gonna put your right hand on your shoulder. It's gonna be directed on your shoulder, so you look something like this, aiming with the butt end of your stick. So now you wanna direct it towards the net, and you wanna step forward with your left foot and fire the ball.
All right.
Good. Easy game. So that's all you have to do, and that's the biggest thing. Now when it comes down to catching the ball, so when we're passing and shooting, I always like to say hand in the middle of the stick. For someone that is new to the game of lacrosse, what you want to do is you want to bring your hand to the very top, so now it's like a baseball glove. It's very easy to track where your ball is. If I throw a ball at you, you'll probably be able to catch it with your hand, but you guys aren't used to, most people aren't used to lacrosse sticks, so if they have their hands down here, you don't really know where the top of your stick is. So that's why you want to bring it up like a baseball glove. So I like to teach hand up here when you're catching, hand here when you're passing and shooting. So we'll give it a whirl. All right, are you ready?
Yeah.
So your hand is going to be up, and now the big thing is, yes, exactly. You want to give a target, all right, to where you want the ball. So your hand is up, and an easy pass makes for an easy catch. So as I throw the ball, I want it up in the air. You could track it, and then you catch the ball. Now you slide your hand back down to the middle, and then you throw back.
Where do I?
Your hand goes to the middle, yeah,
like
and then
this?
you point it, and then throw. Good. Then I'll throw it back to you, you'll reset. I'll put my hand to the middle, you put your hand to the top, aim with the butt end of my stick, and up in the air, and then you can track it. There you go. And then we just reset over and over and over. And like what I like to tell all kids that I teach, if you have the stick in your hand, the more you have your stick in your hand, the better lacrosse player you're going to be. It's like any other sport, any sport. If you practice, you're going to be better at it. So my hand comes back to the middle. I step forward. I want it in the air so you can track it like a baseball glove. And then the last thing I want to add is don't just keep your stick there. You almost want to think of the ball as an egg, so you want to bring it into your body. All right, so you're going to cradle that, you don't want the egg to break, so you want to bring it, when you catch it, bring it into your body, and it'll make it so much easier to catch.
So soft hands.
Soft hands, yes, and I bring it into my body. Now I'm going to do the same thing to you. Here it comes, and there we go. Now we're catching the ball. I got my hand back to the top, and then we go so on and so forth. So the biggest thing, principles, top hand and middle of the shaft, bottom hand on the knob. When you're catching, hand here, all right? And then always remember, just aim with the knob of your stick, and then that's pretty much the basics of lacrosse.
Awesome.
Oh, bad pass.
No worries.
Nice. See, easy game.
This is not as hard as I thought.
No, it really isn't. And you know, when you think about hockey, you have to learn how to skate, then you have to learn how to shoot, stick handle, puck. You know, it takes a lot more. Whereas if you're a good athlete, if you're a good runner, lacrosse is a really good sport for you. It doesn't take very much. You can practice at home on the couch. I have a lot of friends. When I was a young kid, I'd have my lacrosse stick in my hand at all times, practicing different tricks, trying to get better. You know, it's a very easy game to adapt to get better at. And it's one of the oldest games out there as well. You know, lacrosse has been around since the beginning for my people. The earliest games that we have been told of is 1600 years ago, which is pretty crazy compared to, you think how old hockey is.
While the earliest recorded forms of the game have roots tied to the Ojibwa, Algonquin, and Mohawk First Nations, the game went by many different names depending on the language. And there were a number of rules that also differed based on location. While modern lacrosse games are played within a number of hours, historically games could last for days and were sometimes played over a course of great distance as well. It didn't take long for North American settlers to take a shine to the game, and by the 1800s, it was rapidly growing in popularity. During an assignment on the Mississippi River in 1805, a U.S. officer by the name of Lieutenant Pike observed the game being played near the east bank of the river. He named the region Prairie de Lacrosse. Today, the area is home to 2 statues placed to commemorate the game that gave the city its name. Only on Go Nitro. The show doesn't end here. Visit us online for your fix at gonitro.tv. You can follow us on Instagram, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you can tweet us on Twitter.
Go Nitro Access is brought to you by Melville, Saskatchewan. It's bigger on the inside. Aviva Canada.
Salon services for Go Nitro provided by ID Hair Studio. Hair for who you really are.
Don't fit in. Stand out with black chrome.